Hello and welcome everybody to Boardscape. I'm Aaron and I'm here to help you know what you should buy, back, and play. This week we are doing another Kickstarter weekly. A lot of you that watch might know that we did not do one last week. If you want to know why, go ahead and visit the Patreon below where I have a small blurb just describing what happened. So, this week we're going to start out with Gamefound. Gamefound has a new game, well, not really a new game, but rather a collector's edition of Robinson Crusoe going on. I'm going to give a brief overview of what's going on here, but if you want more of a deep dive, then go ahead, click the link above, and you can see the deep dive that we did on the Robinson Crusoe collector's edition and the Book of Adventure. So it's doing very well at over $1 million raised, 12 days ago, 8,300 backers. This is going to be, as we said, for two different items. The first is the actual collector's edition, which is going to give you the base game, as well as some upgraded components. So these upgraded components include new figurines for all of the different action selection people. Usually you have little circle cube things, but these give you minis instead. The minis are done by Awakened Realms, which is always good. It's also going to give you a plastic storage component holder case, an insert, as well as the large box that will fit all of the base game, as well as these new minis. On top of that, it comes with an open and play tutorial, which is going to be amazing for those of you that don't know how to play Robinson Crusoe and want to learn. It's always been a tough game to learn, and this is going to help. Besides that, you have everything that comes in the base game. And the other thing that is going on here is the Book of Adventures. The Book of Adventures is going to have 50 new scenarios that you can play with your base game. And that's huge because the base game, I think, comes with 7. Mystery Tales and Treasure Chests come with a couple more scenarios. But this is going to give this game almost infinite replayability. 50 new scenarios covering the gamut of different genres, different difficulties, different lengths, and even different targeted audiences so that you can play it with your kids, or if you want an adult-themed game, then you'll have that as well. Now the big draw here is going to be some of the stretch goals, because you'll be able to get the collector's edition and the Book of Adventures later in stores, but you might not be able to get these stretch goals. So let's take a look here. They're doing every other day, adding... scroll up here to these. Every other day they're giving one for the collector's edition, and then on the even days they're giving one for the Book of Adventures. Now the collector's edition is giving a modular camp, a dice tower, a mini cave expansion, a new tile that will allow you to discover things, a horse companion, as well as some additional adventure cards. And for day 9, we have 4 supporting items: the lantern, basket, compass, and shield, that can help sort of with your building, gathering, exploring, and hunting actions. So really just minis and some upgraded components is what you're going to get here. In the Book of Adventure, they're giving a competitive scenario, a horror scenario, the deck of inventions that are usually on the scenario cards. Now you'll have the actual physical cards so that you can flip them over if you so desire. Deluxe cover is going to give everything as well as a hardcover to this book. And we'll see what we get later on down the road. It's really not a bad campaign. If you don't have Robinson Crusoe, then you can get everything here for $135, everything new for $135, just the Book of Adventures for $35, the Collector's Edition for $99, or if you already have the base game and just want the new stuff that is introduced in this campaign, you can get that for $99 as well. Again, click the link above if you want to do a little bit more of a deep dive, but that is going to be a brief overview of the Robinson Crusoe Collector's Edition. Now we're going to head on over to Kickstarter, where we have a number of new games to be checking out. The first is going to be a dual campaign going on, Solani and The Girl Who Made the Stars. Now these are both going to be by Final Frontier Games, who have created a number of good Kickstarters, so you don't have to worry at all about this company. They've done the Merchant's Cove, which people have just... either they've just recently got it or they're just about to get it. They've done Coloma, Robin Hood, Rise of Nobility, things that have done very well in the past and people have really enjoyed. And so Solani and The Girl Among the Stars is just going to sort of follow up along those lines. Now these are both going to be tile-laying games in a way. Solani is going to have a couple different tracks, and you can see here where it's an abstract game, and you're going to be taking these tiles and surrounding these circles, and as you do, you'll be able to unlock some of these special abilities. So if you like abstract tile laying games, this might be one worth checking out. After Solani is also The Girl Among the Stars, which is going to also be a tile-laying game with a little mix of worker placement. Because you're going to have these tiles laying out, and basically you're going to be creating constellations. And as you lay your constellation down, you'll be getting light from those constellations. And you can see here, they've got some light out, and they finish it, and so they collect all of the light. When your constellation is done, you then get the light. You'll then use that light to move along these tracks and set your workers down to collect, in these foraging spaces, to collect food. And that food, you can see here, here's all the different light spots going towards the food. And that food here, you'll see, is worth different victory points. So, both tile-laying games, if you're interested in that type of thing, come check this out. It's definitely interesting, not up my alley, but let me know what you think about these two campaigns. Next, we have V Commandos Deluxe. Now, again, doing very well, over 200,000, 1,500 backers, 16 days to go. V Commanders is a game that people have had and enjoyed for a number of years now. This is going to upgrade that. The same way Robinson Crusoe Collector's Edition is giving minis, this V Commandos upgrade is also going to be giving minis. That's going to be... the minis and this Ghost expansion are going to be the two big draws here, I believe. Now on top of those, which we'll take a look at the minis in a minute, they're going to give an XP mode, a solo mode, a campaign mode. They're going to give you all the different modes to keep you coming back. So, you can see here some of these minis. These are painted up. Obviously, they don't come painted, but you can see the aesthetics that it adds to this game. As we scroll down a little ways, we can see... Here's the minis that you get in the deluxe, or the miniature pack, and then there's even more for the expansion packs. So if you really want to upgrade your V Commandos, then now is the time to do it. They also have an all-in pledge if you don't have V Commandos and want it. The originals along with everything else for $255. So I don't have the original. I don't have anybody that really enjoys military war type games, even just that aesthetic. And so I usually pass up on these kind of games. This is a game that I think that I would personally love. I might even be interested in it for the solo mode, but I'm just going to personally pass. Let me know if you've tried V Commandos and if this campaign, this deluxe, really speaks to you or not. Next up we have Horns Up, the Lacuna Coil official card game. For a first-time creator, not bad, over 500 backers, $26,000 raised. This is basically going to be a racing game. You're going to be... and Lacuna Coil, the metal band, is just tacked on. I don't know if this campaign is doing better or worse than if they were if they were not a part of it. But if you like metal, if you like Lacuna Coil and that kind of thing, then that little extra might be something to get you to back this. Before we look at it, just know that it's going to cost $30. So not bad. But basically, you can see here, this is going to be the basic layout. And as you do, you're going to be starting down here. And you're going to be laying cards. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Moving your little metal fingers, metal hands, all the way up in between the gates so that you can reach the stage. Basically, your fans trying to rush the stage. So, obviously, you're going to have everything here that you would usually have, where you have fans, you have ways to block each other and create fun paths. If you like tile-laying racing games, then this might be up your alley, especially for just $30. Obviously, there's a little bit more to it, but that's the basic gist. Next up, we have a game that I don't know how to pronounce. Sefirot, Sefirot, Tarot, I'm not sure. $139,000 raised, 1,800 backers with 24 days to go. I didn't expect this. I hadn't even heard of this game before, but people seem to be enjoying what it has to offer. This is basically going to be the fact that somebody took the tarot cards and thought this would be cool if we turn this into a board game, and they did. So it's going to come with 2 boards. You're going to have the Tree of Life Solitaire board, so if you're playing by yourself, and it's going to have the 2-player mode, the Starfield board, where you can see here you have one mode going up, and here you have the different tracks. So here are going to be some of the tarot cards that come with it. They have apparently put a ton of different imagery in this, that if you follow this type of thing, or if you're into tarot cards or whatever, between the boards and these little symbols, this little Starfield guy behind it, just all these cards are apparently chock full of references and things that you might enjoy if you're into the, I don't even know what you'd call it, celestial stuff, whatever. So basically, you're going to be drawing a card every turn and playing a card. You're either going to be playing a card down here or up top, and basically you're going to end up trying to get their numbers to match. It's relatively a simple game. The draw is the tarot cards and the art, I believe. So yeah, you're going to have a major arcana that you put in the trees. You're going to have a minor arcana that you put below. As your minor arcana accumulates, it's going to be moved up. And you're basically going to match the values of the minor and the major to reveal divine knowledge. If you're into this kind of thing, this might be perfect for you. Apparently, there are quite a few people who are interested in it, which is not surprising. You always see tarot decks on Kickstarter, so I'm not surprised that a tarot board game is doing well. Next up, we have The Escape Room, A Killer in a Box. Now this, I think most of us probably know what escape room and escape room games are at this point. They are a dime a dozen. This is going to be the second from Key Enigma, and so this is not... So they know what they're doing pretty much. It's doing okay. A little less than their previous campaign, but they still have 35 days to go, so it might pick up as time goes. The interesting thing about this, first of all, is going to be that it costs $100. So note that up front. You can get exit games and unlock games and similar things for $15, $20 a piece. This, $100. It's a lot, but apparently it offers a lot. It's going to have over 8 different escapes in one box. So that's eight games, pretty much, at an hour apiece. 50 different puzzles, along with a ton of different story elements. The exciting thing here is going to be the different puzzles that it gives. It gives all sorts of things. Traditional puzzles that you would expect from something like this, down to digital puzzles where you have to get online and try to figure things out. Investigative puzzles, making you feel like more like a detective. Advanced puzzles. It's just chock full of things. So 8 different escapes in one box. If you like escape room stuff for $100, it's not terrible. That's still going to be, what, $12, $13 a piece if you break it down. So, not bad. Next up, we have a party game called I Would Kill Hitler. And this is, again, doing well. Party games usually do pretty well, I'd say. They do okay on Kickstarter. And this one, I feel like party games a lot of times right now have tried to emulate the Cards Against Humanity and Apples to Apples type of game. This one is going to do something similar but add a new mechanic that basically makes the whole game about storytelling. And that's what draws me in, the storytelling aspect. So, what's going to happen is you're going to have a number of different cards in your hand. You're going to have a point of view. You're going to have an ability. So a point of view like you are the 2009 hide-and-seek world champion. Or an ability like you know either how, when, why, or where every person will die. You might have a line of dialogue like, I will literally lick your asshole if you save me. You might have an item in your hand. You have an axe that can generate enough pressure to crush coal into diamonds. As you can see already, this is not going to be kid-friendly or family-friendly, so keep that in mind. Or you'll have a story element, like you must include the romantic comedy cliché where the main couple breaks up over something they could have easily communicated to one another about. So you're going to have these different cards in your hands, and then the judge is going to flip one of these over. So let's say this one. You have swapped bodies with the world's greatest assassin, but he is now coming to kill you. How do you stop him? So you're going to have a layout or a prompt and a question. Then you're going to lay down one of these cards from your hand and create a small story about it. And the judge of the round is going to determine whose story they like the best, pretty much. So, say you are a CEO's annoying son, and you've switched places with the world's greatest assassin, but he is now coming to kill you. How do you stop him? Maybe you access Daddy's bank account to hire the world's second and third greatest assassins to come stop him. I don't know. But that's basically what this game is going to be about. So if you're interested in that, it's not too much. $20 for the early bird, $25 after that. The early bird, I believe, yeah, it has 13 left. It might even be over now. No, you can still select it as of the time of this recording. So, party games. It's fun, adds a little different. If you like storytelling aspects in games, then this might be up your alley. Next up, we have a classic, Fjords. This has been out of print for a while. This is going to be another tile-laying game. This one's going to be a little more similar to Carcassonne, in a way. So, again, doing okay. 1,900 baggers, almost $100,000 raised. I expected this to do better, having been out of print for a while, but it is what it is, especially with the price. It's what? For the base edition, $25, $26, $45 if you get the Deluxe Jarl edition. Fjords is going to be a small game about where you're laying out tiles, matching up different, you're going to be matching the different things, the water, the land, the mountains, and just sort of making sure they all mesh, while at the same time laying down your longhouses to claim the longest landscapes, and as much of the plains and cliffs as possible. Again, very similar to Carcassonne, but more in a Viking setting, even possibly a little simpler than Carcassonne. Now, the deluxe edition is going to add, where is it? Down here, Jarl. It's going to add secret runes, 4 deluxe plastic rune tokens, along with some additional components. So you get a little bit there for your extra $20, but not a ton as of this recording. Fjords, if you want a classic that has been out of print, this is your time to pick it up. The next one is also an out-of-print classic coming back. This is going to be 3 different games in one. We have Bear Raid, Factory Funner, and Ghosts of Christmas. Now, this is doing better because Factory Funner is a game that, again, has been out of print and people have wanted. 2,300 backers, $155,000 raised, 15 days to go. 3 games in one, each not being too expensive, $15 and $34 and $34. Plus, look at this, $4 flat rate shipping for the United States. I don't know if they're just eating the shipping cost or what's going on there, but that's amazing. $9 flat rate for other places. Now, let's quick overview of these 3 games. Ghosts of Christmas is going to be a trick-taking game where you are playing out of order, so you're trying to match things up, take your tricks, while not always, while having to pay attention to the turn order and everything going on. Factory Funner is going to be a puzzle-laying game where you lay pipes and daisy-chain machines together. And as you can see here, you can even lay tiles on top of other tiles, just creating this giant conglomeration of pipes all over the board. And then Bear Raid is going to be a stock market game. Now, there's a lot of games with stock market or stock aspects, but this is going to be more of a straight stock market game where you are buying and shorting stock. And that's going to be the big draw here for a lot of people is the shorting stock. There's not too many games that have that aspect in it. If you don't know what that means, basically when you buy stock, you are betting that that company is going to be doing good, that their profits are going to rise, and in that way they're going to get you more money. Your stock price will go up as the company does better. When you short a stock, you're doing the opposite. You're basically betting against a company, and the worse that company does, the more money you end up making. A lot of us saw that happen recently with the GameStop debacle, where Melvin tried to just completely annihilate GameStop. They shorted more than they even should have been allowed to, and the internet caught on, did what the internet does, bought up all the GameStop stock as Melvin was trying to tank GameStop so that they would make more money. And the internet ended up making Melvin lose a lot of money. And in what? Just a couple months, GameStop stock, GME, has gone from like $5 to, I think it's still over $200 at this point. It's fluctuated up and down about $100 over the last month as the internet keeps diamond hands on that stock. So, if you like the stock market or want to have a little fun game about it, then Bear Raid might be for you. If you want a game that is out of print or was out of print but is coming back with better art, Factory Funner is for you. If you like trick-taking games with a little bit of a twist, Ghosts of Christmas might be for you. Next, we have 1815 Scum of the Earth, the Battle of Waterloo card game. This is going to be the 3rd game in this lineup. The first 2, Tears of the Mothers or something, we'll look at them in a minute. But this is the 3rd, and they have done well in the past. This one's doing well as well. This is basically going to be a card game based around the Battle of Waterloo. Those of you that don't know your history or need a refresher, the Battle of Waterloo is going to be basically England and some other European nations versus France and Napoleon. And it's primarily going to be the last big battle before World War One, before the world just sort of opens up, right? So this is going to be a card game. One side is playing England, the other is playing France. I have to admit, I love the art, I love the style, the colors on these cards look beautiful. I was not, here's what those are called. 1066, Tears of the Mother, 1565, St. Elmo's Play. Back to what I was saying. I want this game, but don't have anybody to play with, as I said earlier, being a war type game. This has a solo mode, so I have not decided yet if I will back it for sure or not, but I'm definitely interested in it. If you want the game, it's going to be $44, so not terrible. But basically, you're going to have everything that you would expect. Events, objectives, units, tactic cards, attachments, frontier cards. You're going to have the full gamut on what it takes to run a war in card game form. And yeah, if that sounds interesting to you, then check this out. It actually looks really good. Next, we have a game that I missed last week that is doing really well, Mage Noir. Now, this is going to be a game, a card-playing game for two people, and is going to be very similar to a lot of other card games out there, and sort of scratch that Magic the Gathering itch that a lot of people have, but don't want to put the money into MTG. That's where I'm at. I would rather buy a game like this once a year and play the heck out of it over that year than get back into Magic the Gathering and spend $2,000 a month like I had in the past. Yeah, so this is going to be a two-player game with the big draw here being that you have a shared mana pool. So that's going to be interesting, how you're going to end up sharing a mana pool as you're playing cards. You're going to channel powers, have tactile choices. You're basically mages controlling the different elements. And yeah, so if you like card games, they have a tabletop simulator mod. They have the rulebook you can download. But they do call this expandable. So you can, I would expect, expansions in the future. Next up, we have Mixtape Massacre Director's Cut. Again, doing well, over 1,000 raised. Not unsurprising, because this is actually more like a second edition, or actually, not like a second edition. They call it the second edition. And it's going to be upgraded from the original game. This is you're going to be a game where you are playing some bad guys trying to kill innocent people. Pretty much imagine a horror movie where you're playing the bad guy. You're going to have everything like killer scenes, all these different cards, supply cards, health pigs, bonus. And here are the different people you can play as. Obviously, if you look at it for a second, you know who most of these people are. They change them up a bit because of copyright issues and whatnot, but you're going to have everything from like Gremlins to The Ring to Jason, It, Hannibal Lecter. You're going to have all the different guys here that you can play as. Again, obviously they have different names. Stitches, Smiley, Prom Queen, The Legend, because of copyright issues. And throughout the game, you're going to be, again, just trying to kill innocent people. Maybe you use the Shredder or the Sledgehammer. This card here says, look, looks like there's a bit of your friend on you. This victim is open for an attack. So the victim gets, like, freaked out for a second because their friend's guts are all over them and they're just sort of, like, in shock. and so they're open for an attack. This, I think, does the horror genre perfectly. And I would almost prefer, I understand and I'm happy that they give us standees, but I would 100% back this if they gave us miniatures, because painting up some of these bad guys would be amazing for me. The director's cut, if you want the game and the stretch goals, is going to be $50. The deluxe edition is going to be $70. The deluxe edition is going to add, let's scroll down here. What the crap? Well, that's an extra $25, and you'd get the slasher mini pack. I must have just grazed right over that before because I missed it. But man, now I might have to back that. But will I really get 45 and 25 or 50? Will I really get $75 out of worth of play out of this? Probably not. So I probably won't get it with as many games as I have. The deluxe edition comes with them for $70. I'll have to let you know whether or not I'm going to back this, man. That threw me for a loop. I'm excited for it. It looks good. Let me know what you think about Mixtape Massacre. Have you actually played the original? Because I have not. And the add-ons, they have the Hallows Eve add-on and some additional other things. Next up is going to be a similar but different game. This one is going to be the Quad City Killers. Murderous fun for the whole family. Basically, in this game, you are playing the Quad City Killers, and everybody is a serial killer. And you are going around the Quad Cities trying to kill people and get away. So, 2 horror games. Mixtape Massacre hits on the horror genre, movie genre. This hits more on real life. So if you want to play a real life serial killer, this gives you the opportunity, I guess. Not my thing. I didn't even really look into it just because it kind of grosses me out. But no judgment if you like it. Let me know what you think about that. But it's there if you're interested in it. Finally, another game I missed last week, Presperitea. Prosperity. Duh. I always said Presperitea. Now I get that it's Prosperity. Duh. Alright, so basically this is going to be a game for you if you like tea, or if you want to play a game with your grandma. Because you're going to have your own little tea shop with all these different kinds of tea leaves, and you're going to be just doing tea things, right? You're going to sell your tea for profit, combining and mixing different teas to create fun things. 72 different ingredient cards. You have your different orders that you're trying to fulfill, and you're making money from fulfilling those orders. So that's going to be our Kickstarter weekly roundup for basically the last 2 weeks. Let me know what you are the most excited about here, and whether or not you are backing any of these. Leave a comment below. While you're down there, be sure to subscribe if you found this useful. Go ahead and hit the like button, as it will help this video out. And if you want to help this channel out, then go ahead and visit the Patreon. Go ahead and subscribe. We have 1 subscriber so far, and I am thoroughly grateful for that. I would love to be able to do more for this channel, give it more time and energy, but I need help, right? So help me, visit the Patreon, and yeah. Thank you for joining me. If you have any questions whatsoever, hit me up. And as always, game on.